Our first testimony tonight, we're blessed to hear from Rachel Reifschneider, a woman whose story is a beautiful reflection of God's redeeming love and the power of forgiveness. Rachel is a wife to her wonderful husband, Brian, and a stay-at-home mom to two precious girls, Rosalie and Riley. Though her years were marked by deep pain, enduring physical, emotional, and mental abuse from her own family, God has written a new story in her life, one of healing, grace, and restoration. Like a modern-day Cinderella, Rachel has walked through brokenness and found freedom through Christ. Her journey reminds us that even in the hardest chapters, they can lead to beauty when forgiveness takes root and God's love steps in. Tonight, Rachel shares not only her testimony, but also her heart, a story of how God's mercy can turn ashes into something beautiful and bring peace where pain once lived. Please help me to welcome Rachel.
Didn't write anything down. Just got nervous. So I will begin with me being a little kid. I've always been the second hand. I've lived with my mom and my stepdad. My father was out of the picture. He was, I don't know if I should say this or not, but he was a 5-time sex offender with my mostly it was with my family and possibly me. We don't know. I don't know. So I lived with my mom and my stepdad for quite a few years until they divorced. Still lived with my dad, but she moved on and became for probably 4 years, didn't want anything to do with us girls. She decided to move on and not want anything to do with us. But my stepdad, he was very, caring and very kind man. My aunts, on the other hand, my step-aunts, were not. And they moved in with my dad to help raise us girls. He worked third shift, and we had to deal with a lot of beating with wooden spoons across the face, belts across the back, hands across the mouth, yelling, screaming, swearing, everything under the sun with them. I grew up, went into 4th grade, went into 4th grade, my mom came back. She wanted me. She was only allowed to take me because obviously I couldn't stay with my stepdad. He had no right to me. So I decided, when I was a 4th grader, I was like, well, of course I want to live with my mom. She's part of me, right? So I went and moved in with my mom. And that was the end of my stepdad for quite a few years until I started high school, and then I started visiting back and forth again and seeing him again. He finally retired and had more time to spend with us. My younger sister, moved in and out, back and forth. If she didn't get her way with her dad, my stepdad, she would move in with my mom, and my mom, if she didn't get away with her, she would move back in with my stepdad. It was a whole mess with her. And because of that, I was second again. I was not allowed to I don't know what you would call it, but I wasn't a normal kid to them. So, again, with the abuse, the yelling, the screaming, the beating in the face, the belts, the wooden spoons. My mom was a very angry person. She has bipolar, never took her medication, so we had to deal with all that. My sister was a suicidal object, basically, and lived in Winnebago for a while, so I had to deal with all that. I get into high school, and actually I think it was before high school, my mom got drunk. Um, she wasn't really the one that was angry, but the boyfriend she lived with, they both ended up getting drunk, and he was so bad. And I mean, if I say bad, he was bad, okay? So he had, I remember this as clear as day, like happened yesterday. He had her on the floor, strangling her. Mind you, I'm in middle school, almost high school, right? I come out of my room and I'm looking at both of them and I'm like, what are you doing? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, I have school the next day. What are you guys doing? I don't know what to do. I pushed him off. She gets up. I looked at her, are you doing okay? Are you okay? She said she's fine. Whatever. I looked at him, I said, you need to go. And mind you, we lived in a hotel. My mom and him were both managers at a hotel for years. So he goes and starts living in a hotel room for a while. She stays back with me. My sister was living with my stepdad at the time. Cops get called. I end up missing school. And I can't remember how long it's been and how long the missing school was. I had to move in with my older sister. She's 18 years older than me, so she wasn't really with me when I was growing up. I moved in with my older sister. I remember calling my mom every day. Are you okay? Is he around? Are you okay? Is he around? Finally, I moved back in with my mom. He's still there. They forgave each other. Whatever. I don't know what happened there, but I moved back in and we moved to a different town and I get into high school and it starts all over again. The drinking, the abuse, the hitting, the screaming, the yelling, the swearing, all of it starts all over again. This time, it was to me. If I could tell you how bad the abuse was, I would. It was so bad. I remember one time, my mom looks at me, tells me to do something. My teenage rebel self tells her no. Of course, right? Bad idea. She comes up, literally runs to me, starts punching me in the face. Ooh. She wouldn't stop. Mind you, this is in front of all of my family. It was a holiday of some sort. I can't remember which holiday it was. Everybody came, and she was doing it in front of everybody. Punch after punch. And it was punch. It was not an open hand. It was a punch. That was the first time she ever hit me in the face. Cops got called. My older sister drags me. dragged me all the way to the bathroom because I couldn't walk. Bleeding, fat lip, everything. I was about 16 years old. She lies to the police. Guess who went to jail? I did. I don't know why. I'm a kid, I'm a teenager, I'm under 18. My mom had this old bruise on her arm, and she told him that it was my fault, and I started the instigation, and I went to jail. That was the first time that I went to a foster home. I get out of jail. It was a 3-day stay because it was over the weekend. Get into foster care, and I meet a friend from high school. She invited me to a church service. It was, the name of the church is Maranatha Baptist Church, and it was in Phillips, Wisconsin. I got to know the pastor very well. I finally accepted Christ as my Savior. Got baptized, joined the church. Everything was looking great. What happens when you go back into a very negative home? It doesn't work very well. You try, and you try, and you try, and you try, and you forgive, and you forgive, and you forgive, and you forgive. Until it starts all over again. And I laugh because I'm looking back on it now, and it could have been different. My mom could have gone to church with me. My mom could have taken her medication. My mom could have everything, but she didn't. So, she decided to start over again. Got out of foster care, went back home, and she started it one more time. This time I went into another foster home, and it was longer. And then I've gotten my pastor's help. I've gotten some teachers' help. I've got a social worker. He helped me try to figure things out, and I don't know, she was just not listening. She just didn't want to change. So I went back home after foster care. We moved to where my older sister lived. I graduated from high school. Walked. It was surprising, but I walked. That was not able to go to church after we moved because I didn't know a church there, and I didn't know anybody there. It was my last half of my senior year, so I figured after I graduate, I'll probably end up moving and stuff anyway, so that didn't happen. We got into one more big, and I mean big fight. And this time it was with my mom, it was with her boyfriend, and it was with my older sister and her girlfriend. I will not go into that. And my nephew. The cops were called, and I think this was finally, they woke up and they took me out. I did go to jail because apparently I was the instigator again. But that was it. I did not go back home. I turned 18, and I asked one of the couples that I went to church with back before we moved, if I could stay with them, get my feet back up under me, to be able to grow up as an adult and figure out what to do with my life and things like that. I was not able to talk to any of my family for a whole year. I was on probation. Yeah, it was a lot then. But the good part, I have forgiven my mom. I have forgiven her boyfriend. I have forgiven my sisters. I have forgiven my stepdad. I have forgiven my aunts. I have forgiven anybody and everybody in that family. And why? Because Christ has cleared my heart. Christ has washed my blackness out and has made me pure. It was not easy. Definitely was not easy. But I was told back a few years ago, God is the source. People are a resource. And I have used people, as in I have asked them to help me. And to help me have a clear mind and help me to look at them as people and not my abuser, not my just family type of people, you know. I 2 years later, I basically was kicked out because they were like, you've grown up, you want to do your own thing, it's time for you to get your own apartment. So I got my own apartment. Maybe a half a year, 6 months later, I was accepted at a college, a Bible college in Watertown. So I moved down here, went to college for a year, failed 5 classes, so I did not graduate. And started working for Amazon. I was a delivery driver, and that's how I met my husband. We had our first child. She's 3.5 now. And we got married in August after she was born. And now we have a almost 1-year-old. And the rest is history. So it is possible. And my story is not as harsh and not as, I don't know what the word is, as many other people out there. But it was rough for me, and it was rough for my personal heart to grow up like that, and to grow up as a person who was a sideliner, who was told to be quiet, who was told to knock it off constantly, knock it off. But God saved me.